Apologetics. And let's put on our thinking caps and predict the future. What happens to church people who do not know why they believe what they believe? What happens to church people who do not know why they believe what they believe? And we're actually going to break these down because there are some, typically I'm thinking younger people, as they go on and move out. What happens to them if they are saved? And surely we know that some of the people that are churched and leave the church are unsaved. So what is going to happen to those people who don't ever really get a good foundation and know why they believe what they believe? Not just because this is what the church taught, not just because this is what mom and dad said, but to really know why, search scriptures out and searched all that they can find out and really come to a integrated thought process. So this is open for you.
Saved students will be intimidated.
Saved students will be intimidated
By intellectual arguments.
Right.
Professors.
So they're going to be kind of taking a back seat. Peggy?
That's like the sinking sand. I mean, life and the situation can overwhelm them.
Mm-hmm.
And they sink without the foundation.
Right. She said sinking sand. So as life comes, they may be overwhelmed by the trials that are presented to them. What about the people who aren't truly regenerated? Joe Modica will tell you that I think it's 9 out of 10 churched people who go on to college, church young, throw away their faith. I would submit that they were never saved to begin with, but we really need to do something in the hearts and the minds of our children to give them a foundation so that when they start getting those professors, they have some reasoned answers to those questions. Charlie?
I think what I see is students have just accepted what they've been taught because their parents gave it to them. Now they're going back and somebody's giving them a reason not to believe. And so if they're not taught from the ground up, like you said, the foundation, then those things just become superficial. They pass off, and they're just opinion then.
That's right.
That was my parents' opinion.
That's right. So if you couldn't hear what Charlie said, as parents, we have a habit of teaching our students or our children what to believe, but sometimes we don't fill in the whys. And then they go on to a professor or someone, and they start giving them some whys they shouldn't believe, and we haven't given them the whys to believe, just what to believe, right?
I had a student in class this week. I was trying to get back reason with Acts. I was talking Acts, and I said, notice the word witnesses. There's always eyewitnesses to these things. I said, these weren't something that was just made up. You know, there are 500 people that saw Christ, and Luke's reporting it. And the student made the comment, boy, Christianity is hard. It's starting to challenge their mind a little bit.
Right.
Why you believe stuff.
Right.
And they aren't used to that. This is a ninth grader.
Yeah.
By that time, they should know some of these things.
They should know. Michelle?
Getting back to your belief tower, I think if, as a child, you are expected to act a certain way and do certain things, and it's all on expectation, and when you get into the real world, you don't have mom and daddy watching over you, and you no longer have a motivation to do certain things, and if you don't have the primary and secondary beliefs to back up, then you're going to just do.
So to get at the root, if I interpret what you're saying, we need to give an atmosphere to our children or to express some doubts and say, Dad, how do you know that what this is true? We need to give them that ability to, not in a mocking or a scoffing way, but to honestly seek for foundations of what we believe is true, because we're not always going to be there, right? All right, enough of this tough stuff. Let me give you a puzzler. And this puzzler says that 7 boys are on a bus, and each boy has 7 backpacks. Each backpack has 7 dogs, and each dog has 7 puppies. How many legs are on the bus? How many legs are on the bus? 7 boys are on the bus, and each boy has 7 backpacks. Each backpack has 7 dogs. Each dog has 7 puppies. How many legs are on the bus? And I'll go ahead and give you the first one, the hard one, the tough one. I'm going to give that one out to you. There's 14 boy legs because there's 7 boys. Each boy has 2 legs. So I'll give you just a few minutes. If I don't see anyone feverishly working on this, I'm going to cut it. There was a reward, but no one wants to. All right. 14. No. No, this is just straightforward. This is just straightforward.
That's my answer.
Okay. The number of dog legs. Well, there's 7 boys, 7 backpacks, 7 dogs. Each dog has 4 legs. That's 1,372 dog legs. And the number of puppy legs. 7 boys, 7 backpacks, 7 dogs, 7 puppies. Each puppy has 4 legs. 9,604. We add up all these legs together. 10,990 legs on that bus. So you're saying what?
Say that the backpacks are on the bus.
Well. All right, so where are we going with this puzzler? Who experienced fear when I gave you this question? Who got that pit in their stomach? I don't know if I can answer this question. Anyone have that? No one? No one? Why or why not? Why didn't you have that fear?
Because I thought the answer was 0, because I didn't think buses had legs.
That's true. True. Buses don't have legs. You don't know, you know how to multiply?
We didn't have calculators.
You don't have calculators? Who thought that there was not an answer? Or that you would not be able to get to an answer if you tried hard enough? No, you realize that even if you don't know how to multiply, you know that someone knows how to multiply, right? And so if we're going to bring this over to apologetics, a lot of times when we start talking about these questions about does God exist, is there a logical argument against God, it produces deep down fear because people don't want to go there. People do not want to deal with those kind of questions. And for whatever reason, they may think that there is no answer. They may not think that they have the ability to answer that question. But we should not be fearful. And I'm going to admit, while I was a freshman in college, that professor came in, I was a little fearful for about 2 or 3 weeks as we were discussing God. And I finally, I was wondering, what if God could be proved to be illogical? A reasoned proof, here, I accept all the premises, and the result of that proof is God is illogical. Or if there was a proof that God didn't exist, the same type of proof. So how do we deal with this fear? Because I know some people will have this fear when we're talking about some of these bigger questions of life. Well, fear not. This phrase in its various forms has been used over 110 times, and I counted up. This is just a quick search for fear not, do not be afraid, do not fear, have no fear. So those could be expressed some other ways. So it could actually be more than 110 times. Fear not. And a key verse in this area is Timothy 1:7. It says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." A sound mind, which is going to be the emphasis on this class. So if you do experience this fear, how do we overcome this fear? Well, one, in this class, we're going to work through some things that some people smarter than you and me have already thought about and how these arguments can be brought down. But another is just to have faith. Have faith. So even if we don't know how to prove that God, or how to knock down the argument of the scoffer, even if we don't know how to calculate the number of legs on the bus, we have faith that there is an answer and that it is a true answer. And we have faith in who our God is. Finally, in that class, I decided this guy can't throw anything at God that God can't handle. And I decided that my God was big enough, strong enough, and smart enough to outwit anything that he can throw at him. I just got to do my work to find out what those reasons are. So that's how we're going to overcome that fear that some of you might get gripped with. When someone refuses to explore these questions of faith or of doubts, really what they're saying is they don't have the faith or the intestinal fortitude to deal with what they might find. They just want to leave it up there on the shelf, right? So we want to not have that fear and go ahead and take some steps forward and explore some of these arguments.